It's a great privilege to stand before you today in this great city of Berlin and thank all the organisers for this beautiful day, a city that is a self-born witness to the triumphs and challenges of peace, to honour a man whose name will forever be etched into the history of peacekeeping all over the world, President Bill Clinton. We're here to celebrate his remarkable contribution to global peace, and for me, I particularly want to say my remarks about Northern Ireland's peace process. His involvement was not just the work of a statesman fulfilling diplomatic duties. It was the work of a leader who genuinely cared, a man who deeply understood the divisions and dreams of a people searching for a way forward. His interest in Ireland was not something that arose from political necessity, but from personal conviction, rooted in his time when he was doing further studies in the United Kingdom, when he first began to grasp the complexities of the conflict in Northern Ireland that took the lives of thousands of people. And from that moment, he carried an understanding with him, ensuring that when history called upon him to play a role, he was more than ready. And that deep conviction between the United States and Ireland is long-standing, but Bill Clinton elevated that bond to an unprecedented level. This was not just seen in his personal efforts, but in his appointments when he appointed Jean Kennedy Smith as ambassador and the Kennedy family's close ties with Ireland. And of course, later on when he appointed George Mitchell as a special envoy. It is one thing to create the conditions for peace, but it's quite another to stay the course, to nurture the peace, to ensure that it develops to its fullest potential. And that is what distinguishes Bill Clinton. He's not just a great leader, he's a great human being. Many leaders have played important roles in peacemaking, but few have had the endurance and commitment to see it through the way that Bill did. During his presidency, he took unprecedented steps to support peace in Northern Ireland. He did so at a time when the world's attention could have been focused elsewhere. He saw the pain, the deep divisions, the yearning of an end of violence, and he did something that many had shied away from. He engaged directly. As I said, George Mitchell was the envoy, but he took so many risks and chances against a lot of advice in his own State Department. He pulled in the parties that were on the fringes, like Gerry Adams, and his willingness to listen, his ability to bridge seemingly unsurmountable divides gave confidence to all sides to negotiate a settlement. The Good Friday Agreement, ladies and gentlemen, of 1998 was not just a milestone in Irish history, but one of the most significant peace agreements of our time. It was built on courage from the leaders of all traditions in Northern Ireland, courage from the British and Irish governments led by Tony Blair and myself, and courage from those who had suffered the most for decades of violence. But it also built on the steadfast commitment of friends from outside, and Bill Clinton was the leader in that. With his vision, his patience, his persistent encouragement, we reached that historic day of April 1998. Bill Clinton's role in the peace process did not end with the signing of the agreement, and that is what makes him, in my view, and the view of all Irish people, truly special. He did not treat peace as a box to be checked before moving on to the next challenge, and he had plenty of those. Instead, he remained engaged, visiting Northern Ireland time and again, with Secretary Clinton, who played such a huge role in women's groups, the university where she's still involved in Belfast and Queen's, lending his influence and hers and reminding us all that peace is not an event, it is a process. He visited us multiple times, both in and out of office, demonstrating his dedication to our island. And one of the most poignant events was back when we had ferocious bombing in August of 1998, not long after the agreement, where he came and lent his support. So Bill Clinton is not just, ladies and gentlemen, a negotiator in our view in Ireland. He was a listener, a persuader, and above all, a believer in the person and potential of people to overcome even the most deep-rooted divisions. And we had those, all 800 years of them. And that is why he remains beloved in Ireland. He understood us, he cared for us, and he stood with us in our most defining moments. Today we honour Bill Clinton not just as a former President of the United States, not just as a brilliant political mind, but as one of the greatest allies peace has ever had. Generations of Irish children, as in Kosovo, are growing up today in a world where peace is the norm, where they don't really understand or remember too much of the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s, or the hundreds of years before that. And they've moved beyond the conflict. And that is no small part to Bill Clinton and to Hillary and University, which thrives now in Belfast, bringing students from all over the world studying conflict resolution. I wish we'd all the solutions, but they do believe in what has been achieved under her chancellorship and her leadership. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of Ireland, I thank you. You have our gratitude, always our admiration, and most of all, you have our hearts. Go míle, míle maith agat.